To the channel. Today I'm doing an oil change on this 2006 Mercedes-Benz C230. It's got the 2.5 liter V6 in it, 201 horsepower. So yeah, what kind of oil to get, I mean, that's basically up to you, but this is Castrol Edge 5W30 and Mercedes approves it, so it won't void your warranty or anything like that. I know they also approve Mobil 1, and you can obviously get the legit Mercedes oil online, but that's more expensive. But just make sure you get full synthetic Castrol Edge or like a full synthetic Mobil 1 5W30. This is just a 13mm socket. So yeah, I mean, this is basically all you need: a socket and your oil, and then an oil pan. There's usually a cover right here. It just pops off, so you don't actually have to take anything loose. You just lift it up and it'll pop up. And then right here is your oil filter. You just turn this counterclockwise, just like that. If you can't get it loose, you can use like a big channel locks or something like that. If you do that, it's good to put like a rag over it so you don't scratch it too. Oil filter, fill, and back here is your dipstick. There's your oil pan, and then the big oil pan, that's the tranny oil pan, so it's the pan right in front of that. And then you got a bowl on the side right here. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah, it's right there. It's just a 13mm. Just gonna go ahead and crack it loose. Just make sure my pan's underneath. And I like to put it like it's gonna shoot this way, so I want to make sure my pan's further over. It's completely loose, but I'm pushing in so that all the oil doesn't spill out at once. So I'm just gonna pull it like kind of straight out and away as fast as I can. So just like that. Okay, that actually shot out a lot further than I thought. But, so I mean, like your hole's here. So you want your oil pan to like start here and then come over. That way when it shoots out like that, you don't get it all over the ground. So you want to take your rag and clean your bolt. There's a washer on here, you just want to make sure it's all clean, and then usually a new washer comes with your oil filter, so yeah, that's probably in here. But for right now, I'm gonna open this, the oil fill, that way more air can get inside to make the oil drain out faster. And I'm also gonna take the dipstick out and just clean it. That way it's ready to put back in. Just clean like the tip of it. And then next thing I'm going to do is pull out my oil filter. So I already got it loose earlier, but I usually you just want to make them good and tight. I usually just make these hand tight. As long as the two, like your plastic part and your metal is completely compressed, then you know it's tight enough when you go to close it. Since they have a seal on the inside anyway. But just turn it like that, and then just pull it up, let it drain a little bit, and just kind of turn it upside down. But I like to pour a little of the new oil into the engine on the top, just to, that way it washes out a little more of the old oil that was still in the engine. And that way, if there's any shavings or anything in the bottom of the oil pan, it helps wash those out. But that's up to you, that's not something you have to do. And I mean, if you're doing regular oil changes all the time, then it's not that important. But if you have like a vehicle that's been beat up and not had oil changes in a while, then it's good to do it. Or if you're changing to a different brand of oil, like if you're going from synthetic to non-synthetic or the other way around, then it's good to make sure you wash out all the old oil that you can. So yeah, now basically what I'm going to do is just take this old oil filter and you just pull it off. You just pull it off the top just like that. I'm just going to throw it in here. And when you go to put the new one on, it doesn't matter which way, so you can put it on either way. can see there's three seals here. There usually come new seals with the new oil filter, so you can swap those seals out. It's pretty easy, just go under them with a screwdriver and pry them off and then put the new ones on. But if you do, like I said, if you do oil changes very often, you know, every 3,000 miles or 4,000 miles, then you don't have to change these every time. I mean, you're only putting it on once and taking it off. Like in between an oil change, it's not like you're taking it off and putting it on all the time. So I usually only change these like every other time I do an oil change or something like that. So yeah, and I'm just gonna put the new oil filter on here. So okay guys, so I cut the oil filter out, and here's the seals that come with it. And the way it looks, there isn't a new washer for the drain bolt, which that's fine, you can reuse it. I mean, as long as it's not broken or anything. So I'm not gonna change these seals this time because I just did it last time, which was like, yeah, not very long ago. And so I'm just gonna put this new oil filter on here. Just push it down, make sure it's all the way down, just like that. There's a little lip, there's a little lip that comes up here. You just want to make that it's under that lip, and that's perfect. So yeah, now it's ready to put back in, but I usually keep these seals just in case I want to use them later. But so yeah, now I'm gonna wait to put the oil filter in, because that way I can fill oil here, and I can also fill oil here, just to distribute it better, but it doesn't matter. So now I'm putting the bolt back in. There's still a little bit of the new oil draining out that I poured in, but that's fine. Yeah, it was like basically completely empty. So put the bolt back in. It's good to use like a small ratchet wrench or something. That way you don't twist off the bolt. You want to make sure that you don't make it too tight. These have a copper washer on them, so that when you put the bolt back on, it compresses the washer and makes it seal good. But the threads also seal it somewhat, since it's got a lot of threads on it. So like this is a long ratchet, so usually what people do is you don't want to hold it down here, because that way you'll twist it off easier. Just hold it like up here, and just make it nice and snug. You want to go about the same pressure as a spark plug, or the same torque. Just make it nice and snug, but you don't want to do anything, put any crazy leverage on it. Just like that. And then it's good to take like your rag and clean off right here. And that way if you see new oil on there again, you know it's leaking. But so I've never had a problem that a drain bolt started leaking actually, but it's good to do the oil change, and then afterwards just keep an eye on it to see if it did leak or anything. You can always tighten the bolt up a little more if you're not sure how tight to make it. But you can Google those torque specs online. They'll pop right up. And it helps a lot to pour sideways. That way you can get closer to the hole, or like closer down there before it starts actually coming out. Because if you pour like this, then it's going to start coming out like way up here. Like, yeah. But if you pour sideways, it doesn't start coming out as fast. Okay guys, so I put in 5 quarts of oil so far, and I put the drain bolt back in. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the jack stands and everything out of the car and just put it down level. That way I can get a better reading of how full the oil is. You don't have to do it, but it's just a good recommendation. Okay, so now you got the car down level. Just take your dipstick, make sure you clean it with a clean rag, pull it out, check it. Okay, so the oil level is pretty close, so I'm gonna put this oil filter back in. And you can actually put this oil filter in, I mean, basically whenever you want to, but you always have to, you're always gonna have to start the engine then, and then let the oil go through here and fill this up, and then you're gonna have to add oil again, because it takes about, you know, half a quart to a quart of oil to fill up the oil filter in this car, you know. Okay, so check the oil again real quick, and then start the car and check it again. So yeah, right now it's at the full mark. I'm gonna start the car, run it for like a minute, and then the oil is probably gonna go down about a quart or so, maybe not quite, and then I'll add oil again and top it off. But yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you want to let it run for like a good minute or so, that way the oil is completely through the engine. But before you start it, you just want to make sure that, you know, your oil filter's in there and your fill cap's on, and that it's full, at least to the full mark. That way, because if it's not full to the full mark, then it might not have enough oil into it to run it. So I mean, that's good. So I'll just cut it off, and then let's check the oil again. And okay, so now the oil is all the way down to here. So it took about a quart to fill up the oil filter, which is, yeah, very common. So I'll just add another quart. You know, I added about a half quart probably. Maybe I added like in between a half quart to a quart, so it's probably not exactly 7 quarts, but if you buy 7 quarts, then you'll have enough. But, so, yeah, it's right at my full mark right now. Okay, so the oil change is all done. The oil level's right. You can get these stickers at, I mean, obviously at Advanced Auto Parts, but you can get them at Napa, AutoZone. Any auto parts store has stickers like this. And what they are is to record your maintenance or your oil change. So I just put down the date that I changed it, which is today, the mileage that the car has right now, and what type of oil. That way, the next time I go to change it, or I can just look on here to see when I have to change it next. You can put the mileage that you want to change it next at, but I just put the mileage, like I would put the mileage that it has right now, and the date that I did it, and what oil I used. But I mean, you can write anything on here that you want to, just so you know when to do your next oil change. And you can also get some for like, your air filter and stuff like that. But and then you just put it right up here. Just want to make sure it's nice and clean. Just use like a rag or whatever. Right here is actually tint on the window, so don't put it on here. I forgot. But yeah, you don't want to put it onto tinted windows because it'll actually tear the tint off when you go to take it off. It doesn't always happen, but it does happen sometimes. It's like that, and then that way the driver can keep an eye on that. So if you're still watching, I just want to say thanks a lot for watching, and I hope this video helps you out a lot. Please like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments.